everyone. Thanks for taking the time to view our digital version of our Summer Surge training. Hopefully this information will be beneficial to you, and hopefully it'll get you excited for things that are coming up later this week. I know I am really excited. So first things first, I want to let you guys know that this is the exact same training material that everybody received today at church. I'm going to try to go through it a tiny bit faster, give you the abbreviated version, but either way, if you make it through all the way to the end, which I hope you will, I'm going to give some incentive. At some point later on in this training, toward the end, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for a Starbucks gift card, but you have to watch all the way through to find out how you can get that. So anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys at Summer Surge. To kick things off for this training, I'm going to answer two questions that tons of people have been asking me right off the bat. The first question is, what is Summer Surge? Is it the same as VBS? When is VBS? It's all basically one question in a lot of different forms. So here's the quick answer to that. Summer Surge is, for all intents and purposes, the same as VBS. We're using the same basic format. We're setting our building up the same way. We're dividing up teams the same way. Also, I even ordered a VBS kit from Group Publishing, which is what we always do in the past. So the next question then becomes, what's the purpose of this rebrand? Why are we calling it something new? And here's why. Summer Surge started out of a desire for us to unite our kids ministry and our student ministry into one kind of offering for the summer. Ask anybody who's involved in kids ministry or someone who volunteers at VBS, and most of the time, they will tell you that the purpose for VBS is to get new people into our church and get them engaged with what we're doing. And I agree with that. I think that that's a fantastic goal. But when you actually look at the return on the amount of time that we put into it, really there's only ever a few families who are brand new who are likely to start coming out of VBS. And the reason being, most of the kids at VBS are our own kids. That's the vast majority. The next largest division of attendance is people who are already plugged into another church and they're just attending our VBS with their friends. And so you really only have a small portion of people who aren't plugged into any church or who are looking for a church when they come. And unfortunately, hopefully this won't offend anybody for me to say it, but a lot of the families in that boat send their kids for free daycare. Most of the time, they're not really looking for a church. They're just taking advantage of a good opportunity for kids to get away for a bit and to get some Bible learning, which is great. I don't have any issue with that. But our challenge this year was to come up with some ways that we can get those people, instead of coming 1 week out of the year, we can get them to return over the course of the summer for some family activities that they can only get here. And then hopefully through doing that, we can get them plugged in long-term here at Victory. So that's our goal, and that's why we rebranded. We created one program that you can bring your kids and teens to, and we're starting Summer at Victory immediately after Surge ends, and that's a new activity every 2 to 3 weeks for the entire family. And hopefully that will get some new people who maybe haven't been connected with church before to get plugged in and get involved with what we're doing, because that ultimately is the goal for an outreach program like this. So the next question that I get, I can answer pretty quickly. I've offered childcare, and that's been in the forums. I've said, do you need childcare? And a lot of the people who have kids in the preschool age are wondering, is preschool childcare babysitting? Or is it VBS? And the answer is VBS. They will be there for the opening and closing skits. They will have Bible lessons, crafts, activities, all sorts of fun things, just like VBS. The only reason I'm using the phrase childcare is that program is only open to the kids of volunteers as a courtesy to you guys. It's not open to the whole community, so I'm not promoting it as part of VBS or Summer Surge, but it is more or less preschool VBS. So hopefully that knocks out two of your biggest questions right off the bat. I've been getting those questions all the time. But we're also going to dig deeper into some stuff that I know you're curious about. We're going to talk about some policy stuff. We're going to talk about what's expected of our workers. We're going to talk about the theme. But first, now that we've gotten the big questions out of the way, I'm going to hit 3 very important things right now. Now, doing this digitally, you do not have the benefit of the handheld piece of paper, which I have somewhere around here. I don't see it at the moment. Sorry, I would hold it up and show you, but I'm going to link in this video, I'm going to link a PDF document that's the handout that I gave everybody at the program. This is the volunteer handbook that you're going to get at Summer Surge when you arrive. But if you'd like to follow along now, it might be kind of helpful to you. Either way, I'll put some images up on the screen that help you see what we're talking about. So anyway, check that link down below. And if you're following along, go ahead and go to the last page of that document. We're going to talk about what I call Evan's golden rules. I have 3 golden rules. They're things that you're going to hear me repeating a lot, and they're the 3 most important things that I want you to take away from this. Thing number 1, safety is number 1. This is my first golden rule. Safety is number 1. Not Jesus, not the Bible, not church, not any of those typical responses. Safety is number 1. If that surprises you, think about it for a moment. If a child runs away, how are we going to teach them about Jesus? If a parent shows up and they don't feel safe dropping off their kid, we won't get a chance to talk about Jesus. If a child comes and they don't feel confident that they're safe and that they're being taken care of, they're not going to listen to the things that we're teaching them about Jesus. So really, it sounds kind of funny on the surface, but safety is my number 1 thing, and it needs to be your number 1 thing as well at Summer Surge. Evan's golden rule number 2, this may be the only place where some of these kids are loved. I know that's kind of dark and serious, and I don't mean to be melodramatic, but we need to be aware of what's going on in the world and what's going on in the lives of our kids. We would hope that every kid who comes to Summer Surge has a fantastic family life, but honestly, that's not how it works out. And really, I do kind of hope that some of those kids who are in tragic circumstances will come to Summer Surge, because this is a place where they can get love. But I want all of you to realize that kids in your groups, kids that you're interacting with, may not be loved outside of these walls. When we discipline kids who are driving us crazy, we discipline them out of love because we want them to grow into healthy, productive members of society, and we want them to be safe. After all, safety is our number 1 thing. Remember that. So even when we discipline, even when we're frustrated, it comes out of a place of love. We take extra time to find out what's going on in the lives of our kids because we care about them and we love them, and we realize that we may be the only ones who show them that love. So in all that we do, we show the love of Christ. My third and final golden rule is you can do anything for 2 hours. Now, I know that's a bit of a joke because we're actually asking you to be here for 3 hours each day, but whatever, 2 hours just sounded a little bit better when I put it down on paper. Anyway, that golden rule basically just means bring your A game when you come to Summer Surge. Make sure that you get enough sleep the night before. Drink some caffeine on the day of. I know that not everybody is as manic as me. I know that not everybody is as good at doing motions as people like Julie, our song leader, or our kids who are helping with that. But whatever kind of state that you come in or whatever, remember, bring your A game when you come. Kids will respond to your energy, so make sure that you keep your energy levels high. If you're sitting in the back of a Bible lesson and you're playing on your phone, then kids are going to assume that it's not all that important and they don't need to pay attention. If you're sitting in the back of our worship time with your arms crossed and not attempting to do any of the motions or anything like that, then your 4th grade boys that are sitting next to you are going to think that it's lame. In reality, it is lame. Motions for kids' songs at Vacation Bible School are goofy. That's the point. But we're allowed to be dumb sometimes. In fact, if you're not going to be dumb at Summer Surge, where are you going to be dumb? Be goofy for a little bit. Set your pride aside for a little bit. Just get into it. Have fun. And kids will respond to that and they will respect that. So remember my 3 golden rules. Safety is number 1. This may be the only place where our kids are loved. And you can do anything for 2 hours. Let's go ahead and talk really quickly about our theme, because I know that's something everybody wants to know about. Our theme for this year is shipwrecked. It's all about how Jesus rescues us at points when we're stranded and we just need his help. Our skits are going to be about a friendly guy played by Jeff McCrary who has been shipwrecked on an island, and our kids are going to help them learn how Jesus rescues. So here are our Bible points for each day. Wednesday, day 1, the Bible point is, when you're lonely, Jesus rescues. Jesus tells parables about lost things like sheep and coins, and as we study those together on Wednesday, we're going to realize that the Lord promises to hold us close. Psalm 27, verse 10. Jesus rescues when we're lonely. We said that some of these kids coming may not be loved anywhere but here, and so it's important to realize that our kids are going to feel lonely. They're going to be lonely at home. Sometimes they're going to be lonely when they're surrounded by groups of people. Every kid is going to wrestle with loneliness, and we want them to know Jesus rescues. Our Bible point on Thursday is when you do wrong, Jesus rescues. Every kid, no matter how good they are, makes mistakes. In your team, you're going to have kids who are going to make you want to pull your hair out every day. You're also going to have kids that you swear are angels and have never done anything wrong in their life. But in reality, all of us, adults and kids alike, make mistakes on a regular basis, maybe even a daily basis. But Jesus rescues. Just like Jesus welcomed a criminal off of the cross as one of his last acts here on earth before he died, we know that Jesus rescues us. Here on earth, we're going to have many trials and many sorrows, and we know that, but we can take heart because Jesus has overcome the world. John 16:33. Finally, on Friday, our theme is When You're Powerless, Jesus Rescues. Again, the kids that are here at Surge are going to feel powerless a lot. As a kid, there are a lot of times when you feel that way. Playing on a sports team, you have to listen to what the coach says. When you're here at Summer Surge, we do goofy, crazy, fun things, but they still have to listen to adults and be respectful and follow certain rules. And at home, kids may very well be in situations where they don't have good clothes to wear, where they may not have enough food to eat, and they feel completely powerless to overcome that. So we want to go deep with those kids, help them realize Peter and John healed a completely lame, helpless man in Jesus' name, and they did it because Jesus cared for that man, just like he cares for us. And as they leave, we want them to realize that that same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead is in us. Ephesians 1, verses 19 through 20. So that's our theme. Let's take a look at our building map really quickly. We're going to go clockwise, starting with the upper left. The kids' worship room is where several things happen. First of all, the kindergarten through second grade kids get dropped off and picked up here in the mornings. Also, our kindergarten through fourth grade kids have their snack in this room. So basically, if you're not with the preschool, your snack will be in the kids' worship room. If you're not familiar with that room, when you come in the main entrance to Victory and you walk straight down the hallway, you're going to see this thing that says God's Backyard. It's like two big wooden poles with a sign across it. As you go up the ramp and you turn into the right, there's a large room that has like a wilderness scene painted and a house and a little shed, and that area is the kids' worship room. In the kids' worship room, if you're doing kindergarten through second, you'll be waiting there as a team leader to pick up the kids as they're dropped off. And also, again, everyone in elementary gets their snacks there. You'll notice on the map that there's a circle with a W. There's actually several of these circles across the map. That represents a walkie-talkie. At pretty much all times during Summer Surge, I'm going to be carrying a walkie-talkie and also wearing an earpiece. So if you have some kind of need, whatever that may be, and it's something that you're not equipped to handle yourself, then you can page myself. Our medical team will also have walkie-talkies, and so if you need anything medically related, you can page them. And Miss Robin Englehart has graciously offered to be our official Summer Surge fire putter outer. So if for some reason you need some help and I'm not able to help, which, to be honest, I'm actually running a couple stations, so there probably will be points where I'm not readily available. Robin has taken that role. Robin knows all the ins and outs of what's going on here at Victory and with what's happening at Summer Surge, and she is ready to help you in the event that it's something you're not able to handle yourself. Moving around the map clockwise, at the very top right, there's the preschool story, activity, and craft room. It's pretty self-explanatory. All the kids in the preschool program will be moving here for their Bible story and craft time. Just south of that is the kitchen. You'll notice that there's a walkie-talkie in the kitchen as well. Then the yellow is the gymnasium. That's where kindergarten through fourth grade kids have their game station, their activity station, and also third through fourth grade drop-off and pickup happens in this room as well. To the right of the gym is the Critterland room, and that's where we're doing preschool music station led by Miss Julie Chitwood. If you are in preschool story, the kitchen, the gymnasium, or Critterland, then the kitchen walkie-talkie is your best bet to reach us in the event of an emergency or you just needing help. The red rooms down in the lower right portion of the main building are the preschool rooms. So there's ages 4, 3, 2, and nursery are all in that area, and those are for your benefit, as we said before. One quick tip, and we'll come back to this in a moment. One quick tip is that on the first night, you are going to need to fill out an information card for your kid as you drop them in the preschool area. So we're asking you to arrive at 8:30 a.m. every day, but I would recommend you arrive no later than 8:20 on Wednesday morning, so that if you have kids, if you have preschool kids that you're dropping off, I recommend you arriving by 8:20 so that you can fill out their information card and not be stressed about getting to your post on time. Also, as you can see, there's a walkie-talkie in the nursery, which makes it really easy for anyone in the preschool rooms to reach us when they need us. Down at the very bottom of the map, obviously this isn't geographically accurate, but that's the Victory student room where the middle schoolers will be meeting. You see that the staircases to get up there are by the kitchen, and basically we won't have a whole lot of interaction with the middle schoolers, but they do have a walkie-talkie if for some reason we need to reach Zach or one of his team. Moving around clockwise to that lower left portion, you'll see that there's a walkie at the connections desk. Registration will be happening in that lobby area, and our medical team will be in the lobby area. And finally, on the very lower left is the auditorium, which is where the opening session is, where the closing session is, and it's where kindergarten through 4th grade will have their Bible story time. This is a slight change from last year. In the past, kindergarten through 2nd had a different Bible storyteller from 3rd and 4th grade. However, this year, we're combining K through 4th and having one large group story time, just like we do in Kids Worship on Sunday mornings. So, moving on from there, let's talk about some volunteer procedures, things that you guys need to know. As I said, we're asking you to arrive by 8:30 each morning, unless you have kids in the preschool area, which is probably a good idea, especially on the first day, to arrive by 8:20. But either way, you need to be in position at 8:30, so plan accordingly if you have preschool kids. When you come, you'll check in each night to let us know that you've arrived. If you're working with the preschoolers, your check-in place is outside the Victory main office doors. There used to be a counter there, which we actually removed this week. And when I say we, I mean Rex Wells. Rex was awesome, took care of that for us. But anyway, that counter is no longer there, but that's still where we're doing preschool check-in, is in that little space right there. If you're working with elementary, your check-in place is at the surf shop, which is right outside the Kids Worship room. Team leaders, inside your bag, which you will all receive when you arrive at Summer Surge, there's going to be some wristbands, and those are like the paper wristbands like you get at a concert or a race or the hospital. It's those types of wristbands. Each night, you're going to put a wristband on your kids as they check in, and you'll notice that there's a space on the wristband where there's a number printed. There's also a perforated tear-off with an identical number printed on it. This is our security system. When your kids check in each night, you will put a wristband on them, and you will tear off the tab and give it to the guardian who is picking them up at the end of Surge that day. Remind the guardian not to lose this piece of paper. We have ways of pairing kids back up with parents if they should lose that paper, but it's very important that they do their best to hold on to that, just for keeping things easy and less stressful. So remind them of that. Remember, at pickup time, we ask you to position yourself between the kids and family members coming to pick them up, and you do not release a child to anyone until they have shown you that code. Or if they have lost their paper and their code, make sure that you have gotten authorization directly from myself, Robin, or the registration group before you release a kid to anyone. That's the whole purpose of that system. And after all, safety is number one. We have snacks each morning, and this is something I know that you guys are all familiar with. On Wednesday, our snack is Rice Krispie Treats. On Thursday, our snack is Snack Mix with pretzels, M&Ms, and Fruit Loops. And our snack on Friday is some delicious cookies, actually the same delicious cookies we had on Mother's Day. Only, of course, baked fresh. It's not literally the same cookies, but you know what I mean. I think you could piece that together. So those are our snacks for each day, and each day you are going to have inside your team leader bag, again, if you are a team leader, you're going to have inside your team leader bag some snack sheets, and those snack sheets provide a place for you to write the number of people in your group who want a snack, kid and adult, teenager, whatever. Everybody in your group who wants a snack, write down that total number. Then, right down on the line below it, there's a place where you can put the number of kids who need an allergy-sensitive snack. We're going to provide an alternative allergy-sensitive snack for kids who are not able to eat what we're having that night. So if there's a kid who can't have it, make sure that you mark down how many allergy-sensitive snacks need to be prepared in addition to that regular number of snacks. So on the top line, you're writing the number of regular snacks. On the bottom line, you're writing the number of allergy-sensitive snacks required. You will know which kids have allergies because we are going to provide each team leader with a registration list complete with allergy information for your team. This next procedure I know goes without saying, but it's my job to say things that go without saying. Do not be one-on-one with a child under any circumstance. Now, I say this, and I'm going to humbly say that every single year I have said this, and inevitably, every single year I have found myself in an unavoidable position where I am stuck with one child. Somehow, it always happens, and it's always outside of my control. But my policy is when you find yourself in a situation where you're one-on-one with a child, if you should take that child and, as quickly as possible, move to the nearest location where there are other people and hang around with them. I don't do this because we don't trust you. In fact, if we didn't trust you, you wouldn't be watching this video. We do this because we want to protect you, we want to protect the kids, and after all, we humbly admit that safety is the number one thing that we can do at Summer Surge. So again, do not be one-on-one with a child. Bathrooms. I recommend that you do group bathroom breaks. So try your best on your first night to look at the schedule and find a good opening where you think you can get your whole team in and out of the restroom really quickly. If you'll be a little bit late for one of your stations, not a big deal. If you need to leave one of your stations a little bit early, work with your station leader on that, but try to get your whole group into a restroom break. Now, inevitably, there are going to be times pretty much every night where your entire team says they need to go to the bathroom, even though they just went to the bathroom 3 minutes ago. And when that happens, send the kids in groups to the restroom. Don't have them go one-on-one. If you're working with younger kids and they need help in the bathroom, sometimes we need to do that, right? And especially in the preschool, there are diapers to be changed and things, so it's part of the job description. But you need to work a special little balancing act when that happens. Obviously, you need to protect the modesty of a child, so you're not just going to throw the door wide open and have all the kids stand and look. However, you do not want to be in a bathroom one-on-one with a kid. We already said you shouldn't be one-on-one, and a bathroom's a very sensitive place, so do your best to stand inside the threshold of the door and offer help to the child if it's possible. If you need to go inside, leave the door cracked, again, preserving the modesty of the child as much as possible, but making sure that you're not in a one-on-one situation or in any way that could seem compromising for your safety, for the safety of the child, and for the safety of Victory. This next infographic is the weirdest, goofiest infographic I've ever made for anything. I call this the Spider Sense infographic. Here's what that means. Spider-Man has a spidey sense that lets him know when danger is on the way, and as human beings, we have that as well. We call it intuition. It's not all that super, it's just something that we can do, especially if you're a parent. There are going to be times in your life, I'm sure you've already experienced it, where something just makes you feel weird. You don't know why, but you see a person and they just give you a creepy feeling. We do something and you think, I don't know if this is safe. Whatever it may be, we have all experienced that spidey sense at some point in time. The reason I am bringing it up is because I want you to know I take those spidey senses seriously, and I want you to bring them to my attention. Now, there may very well be something that happens that I have overlooked or not considered, and your spidey sense may help to keep us safe or to keep us efficient. So if you see something that's happening and you say, hey, I don't know if this is the safest thing for the kids, come and let me know. If you see someone who gives you a weird feeling, I want to know about it because it's possible that it needs to be addressed. If, for example, there's something very obvious and you see someone like this guy in this infographic with the pitchfork, if you see someone who is a person that you don't think is a parent, but they're hanging around a lot, or maybe they are a parent, but they should be gone by now, and they're hanging around the kids, and they're watching, and they're acting strange, that is a safety issue, and it needs to be reported to me. I will never chastise you for those feelings. I will never belittle you. I will take them seriously. But I also will not overreact. I'm not going to pull out a baton and go flog the person. So you have nothing to fear. I want you to come and let me know, because the safety of our kids trumps anyone's pride. It's the most important thing that we do. So if you see someone that makes you feel uncomfortable, let me know. If you see something happening that makes you feel uncomfortable, let me know. Now, there may be points where I have an explanation. I may know things that maybe you don't. Maybe I know a person, or maybe you come to me and you say, hey, that guy's a little bit creepy. What's he doing here? And I say, I know, I understand, but that's Josh Cadwell, and he's allowed to be here. He's our minister. So there may be situations where there's not really a fix, or maybe there's an easy explanation. But on the off chance that something is wrong and it needs to be fixed, I ask you just humbly, come to me, share those things, and help us keep Victory safe this week. The last thing that I want to draw your attention to is actually in that handout that hopefully you've downloaded. The PDF is linked in the captions for this video. Also, you can pick up this handout at Summer Surge when you arrive. I'd like you to take a moment to look at the emergency evacuation plan. It's only a couple sentences, but just beware of the plan so that way we can all meet up in the same place and know what we're doing. The next thing I'd like you to look at is the discipline guidelines. Now, I know I will humbly say that a lot of you have been doing this longer than I have. A lot of you have teaching experience, or you're comfortable with handling discipline. And I'd like to ask you to abide by these discipline guidelines. Or maybe you're somebody who's never really had to deal with child discipline before. Once again, refer to these discipline guidelines. I'm sure that there are probably some other excellent ways that we can handle child discipline, but if we can all adhere to the same code, then that helps us in several ways. First of all, it helps us be consistent with our kids. It helps us create a positive atmosphere that is homogenous across the whole program. But also, occasionally, you probably know this, occasionally parents can get a little frustrated by things that happen with their kids. Maybe their kid got in trouble and the parent doesn't understand why, or things like that. If we all abide by the discipline guidelines, we have the ability to support one another and say, I'm very sorry that you feel that way. Is there something I can do to help? But then to also say to the parent, we were following a set of guidelines and we didn't overreact or pick on your kid. We were following guidelines. So again, whether you're inexperienced or whether you've been doing this for a very long time, we still ask you to abide by those discipline guidelines. And the Spidey Sense rule still applies. If you have feedback or other ideas for ways that we could do discipline better, come and let me know, and that may be worked into our plan for next year. So I'm always open to new ideas. Finally, I'd like to draw your attention to the TTTSYB, which is Tips and Tricks to Save Your Butt at Summer Surge. These include a lot of different things. For example, things like picking a child who is your official head counter. Pick a kid that you trust and have them help you by constantly doing head counts as you go through the morning to make sure that you haven't left any kids behind and that everybody's ready to go. You'll find a lot of other tips and tricks in that area of the packet, so make sure that you check that out. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to view this today. That pretty much wraps it up. And as promised, I have a giveaway for you guys sticking through to the very end. I have a $10 Starbucks gift card that I'm going to be giving away. This is an e-gift card. I am going to give this away to the first person who emails me, and the content of your email should include the number one thing at VBS or Summer Surge. What is number one? Evan's number one golden rule. Put that in the body of the email. And the subject of your email should say Starbucks. So the first person who emails me Evan's golden rule with the subject line Starbucks will receive a $10 digital Starbucks gift card. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to volunteer with our kids. I really believe that this is a place where life change happens. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. And we'll look forward to seeing you bright and early, 8:30 or 8:20 on Wednesday morning.
That's good.